E! News co-host Keltie Knight is revealing details about her private battle with a chronic health condition in hopes of helping others. It's the only reason to talk about this publicly because it's extremely personal. The Emmy Award winner revealed last month that she was having a hysterectomy, yes, a hysterectomy, to treat a chronic and severe form of anemia. She spoke very candidly about the decision on Instagram.
I'm having a hysterectomy. I know, it's big and scary. I've been suffering in silence for so long behind the scenes, and I suffer from a chronic condition called microcyclic anemia. My blood cells are just smaller and there's less of them, and so I'm feeling awful constantly. I have fatigue like I couldn't even describe to you. I'm sleeping like 16 hours a day.
Keltie Knight joins us now. It's her first broadcast interview about her recovery. We're so glad you're here. Number one, you took the red eye and made it here in time. So thank you, Keltie.
Thank you for
Right before
me.
we went on, you leaned back in your chair and you took a big sigh and you held your tummy. And I said, "Are you okay? Are you in pain?" And you said, "Yeah."
This is, sorry, this is really hard. This has been really hard, and there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of emotions around it, and I can't believe I'm sitting with Gayle King talking about the end of my womanhood, if you will, and I just want to thank you so much for having me on, and the whole team.
Is that how you look at it, the end of your womanhood? Let's think about that for just a sec.
Well, you know, you get your period. I got my period when I was 12 years old, and I think as women, we learn that we are meant to suffer in silence our entire lives, and that, you know, I think there's still this stigma around periods are dirty. You don't want to be seen buying tampons, and oh my God, not a blood stain. And so for me to be so young and to be having these really heavy periods and kind of being gaslit by doctors being like, oh, well, maybe you should drink a green smoothie, you'd feel better. This has been a big journey, and it's pretty emotional. Let's
talk about it. Well, I'm really glad you're here to talk about it, as hard as it is and as difficult as it is. I think it's important that you are allowing us a peek inside your very private life and your pain. But when people think hysterectomy, you don't think hysterectomy and anemia in the same sentence. Anemia, I think it's a blood issue, correct? Right. So how does that lead to blood issue, anemia, to a hysterectomy?
Yes, so
And how old are you?
I'm 42 years old.
That's another reason. You think a hysterectomy of somebody much older.
You think it's an old lady thing, you know? Oh, your time's up, you're spent, and you get a hysterectomy because you're, you know, end of your, you know, time to be fertile and fresh. So anemia, essentially, you know, as I went into perimenopause, as I got older, my periods were heavier, my cycle was really heavy, and again, doctors were like, well, we could put you on the birth control pill, like maybe we can do something, but basically, I have a very hard time with my anemia keeping fresh, healthy blood in my system. So I was going for iron infusions, I'm going for infusions, but every month I'm bleeding it out. So my ferritin level was living at like a 4 or a 5 when it's meant to be over 200. I was exhausted. I lost the sight in my eye. My hair was falling out.
You lost vision in your eye?
I couldn't read the teleprompter. I was memorizing my scripts at E! News before I went on because I couldn't see the prompter.
Did you feel doctors weren't listening to you? Did you feel something is very serious here?
I went to doctors for years. I was told I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I was told I just worked too hard. Maybe if I learned to meditate, I would start to feel better. We get gaslit. When you have a chronic illness, you start to feel guilt that it's your fault. I felt like it was my fault, Gayle. I felt like if I was better at being on Earth, you know, if I could be a vegetable-eating, meditating, body-brushing Gwyneth Paltrow, I wouldn't feel so bad. Like it was my fault. And I finally got to a doctor, my doctor, Dr. Matthew Seidhoff, and I got on the phone with him, and he looked at my paperwork, he looked at my blood work, and he said, I think a hysterectomy is the right option. I just burst into tears.
Yes. Because did it end a dream for you in terms of a hysterectomy, or something else?
I was desperate to be alive again. I have the most magical life. I have a great husband. I worked so hard on my career to have success, my dream job on E! News, and I have been a zombie for most of it. And I just really want women to understand that it's impossible in a 15-minute gyno appointment or a
Yes.
15-minute doctor's appointment for them to understand the
Exactly
whole
what's
picture.
happening.
I walked around LA with a yellow file folder, every single piece of blood work, more. I fought so hard for my health, and I want women to do the same.
And then you go online and you share this personal story, and then you get trolled. What do you mean by that?
Yeah,
I was
so-
sort of thrown by that.
Well, people are like, oh, well, you're anemic, eat a steak.
Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
tried that. I tried the bone broth. I'm allergic to bovine. I can't eat a steak. So there's just so many things, and people would be like, oh, you're just complaining, or and
That's why you never know what's going on in people's lives, the people, the haterade on the internet. That's why you need to stop listening to that stuff. But I'm assuming a hysterectomy is so drastic, the doctor must have felt there was no other option for you.
yeah, there are other options for someone that is having these heavy periods.
But for you, yeah.
For me, I couldn't use an IUD. My pelvis was tilted the wrong way. My uterus, in a beautiful way, is heart-shaped. And so that means you can't do ablation surgery because it can't reach the upper heart. So the hysterectomy was very final. It's a huge surgery. My doctor said to me, we took out an organ and stabbed you 5 times. Like, that's what the surgery is.
And your health today is? Still recovering? You're
I'm
gonna be
definitely
okay?
in recovery. I'm gonna be great.
Okay.
I can't wait to feel better.
Okay.
And I also feel like, as women, we're not really allowed to age, as you know. It's really sexy.
But we do.
Well, it's sexy when George Clooney gets old, but it's not as sexy when, a woman has gray hair. And so
But we
I was
do.
shocked at 42 to have a hysterectomy. Shocked.
Well, I'm glad, A, you're still alive, and B,
Thank
that
you.
you're going to be okay.
And
Thank
can you
you. Thank you,
imagine what I
Keltie.
can accomplish when I
Yes.
actually have energy? I can't wait. I'm gonna really, you better watch out, world, because I'm coming for you.
And we are here for you, Keltie, here for you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today.